section here is the head and the neck. So we're looking at stuff that can move up here. Move the neck around and move the head around. If we go in the back, we got a few layers of muscle in the back. The most superficial layer, the one on top, superficial means on top, is the trapezius muscle. And the trapezius muscle starts nice up here on the EOP and goes down all the way to the spinous processes till the T12. It's a long muscle. And then it comes from the bottom to the top and it meets on the spine of the scapula and surrounds the acromion and goes into the clavicle. That's a big, big, massive muscle. When you think about, then there's a term, you see that term nuchal ligament here? The nuchal ligament is, well, you could, I pointed it out right here. You see here, that's the nuchal ligament right here. So that's an extension of the spinous process backwards to basically accommodate the forward curvature that happens in the neck. And then things can attach on the side on that part. That's the nuchal ligament. So basically, it's like the spinous processes. So when that muscle contracts, you can visualize how it's going to pull that neck, head and neck back, how he's contracting. Can you visualize it? So that makes sense, right? When we see the muscle being attached here and going out to here, if I contract one side here, I help side bending of the neck and the head. So that's a tilting to the same side. Another one that's a little bit harder maybe to understand is when I contract from here down, I also turn the head away. So it rotates the head. And it rotates the head contralaterally. That's the opposite side. So when this side contracts, it rotates the nose to the other side. Then it also does a bunch of scapular motions, and we'll do those next month. From there, from the back, we go to the superficial muscle in the front. And one of the main ones there is the sternocleidomastoid, the SCM. And the trapezius was named by its shape, the way it looks. The sternocleidomastoid is named by its attachments. So that muscle attaches on the sternum, right down here, on the clavicle, that's the clival part, and then it reaches up and goes to the mastoid process. So you can see that muscle, it's a big thing in the front. You can grab it from yourself and throw it. When we look at it from on the skeleton, if I can, it goes from here and here and reaches up there. So then what we can do is we can take these points and we can just bring them together and then we can figure out what that muscle does. So we can actually take it on our own head. It's probably easier. And we can say, oh, from here to here, what does it do? Okay, let's contract it. Oh, it does that. It turns the nose to the side. Let's make sure that's correct there. Yeah, it rotates to the opposite side and it brings it to the same heel. The same heel goes down. So that's lateral tilt or tilt to the same side, rotate to the opposite side. We get to the next one. And so we have one now in the back, the big one in the back. We have the main one, one of the main ones in sort of side front. And now we're going to go to the side of the neck right in here. And these muscles are three, they're the scalene muscles. And they are basically start from the transverse processes here, and go down and attach to the rib. The interesting thing about those muscles is, as you can see, they look like, well, they don't really look like that, but they say they look like scales on a fish because they come one row after the other after the other. That's 3 in a row. And so that's why I call them the scalene muscles. The interesting thing about the scalene muscle is you have the brachial plexus that goes through it. So if you have a really tight neck in the front, you could potentially have symptoms that reach down into the arm when that gets squeezed. So this can mimic the carpal tunnel syndrome, unfortunately. when it does the action, as in function, not a little shy about that. It elevates the first two ribs. It also flexes the neck if it's used together, brings it forward, or it side bends the neck if it's used on one side only, brings the neck to the side, same side. So those muscles are attached right here, and they go and reach into the first two ribs. They're right here. You can palpate them right over the cloud. They're really, really firm and tight. That might be a reason why you have some symptoms. So that now brings us to muscles that are deep in front of the neck. They are, you can sort of palpate them yourself. You go both sides of the anal area and push in. They can be very tender. When you push in, is actually you're pushing in on the bone, and they're known as the longus colli muscle. They have three parts to them: an upper, well, a vertical part going up and down in the middle, an upper part that's oblique, and a lower part that's oblique. Those are very, very important muscles in terms of our neck posture. So that if you look at the up and down part, the vertical part goes from the cell bodies to cell bodies, from cell bodies below to cell bodies above. And then the superior and inferior oblique, they basically go from transverse process to the transverse process. So the anterior transverse process here to the transverse process up here in some of the body as well up there, as you can see one. What they do collectively is they flex the neck and they tilt and rotate the neck to the same side. These muscles are crucial when you have a car accident. Because what happens when we have a car accident, we drive, the headrest is here, the head is usually in front, and we get hit from behind or from the side. But let's say we get hit from behind, the head goes back. As the head slams back, these muscles get overstretched and get overpaid. And that's one of the whiplash sources for long-term problem, because then those muscles don't function properly anymore, and the neck motion is aberrant and so forth and so forth. So one thing that I try to do when I drive, it's not always easy, but I try to have my head against the headrest. Because if I get hit, I don't have that thing happening, and it's already back there. And that doesn't straighten the muscle, at least not the less it's really bad. Yeah, rapid deceleration and acceleration. And the whiplash really apparently happens. First it happens when you just the head is in free fall and goes to the headrest. And we all have to consider getting hit with the texture out there. Unfortunately. It's not, yeah. Then we go in the back of the neck again. And in the back of the neck we got two more layers. We got a deep layer, two layers underneath the trapezius. We got a deep layer, deep in there, and then we got a middle layer. The deeper layer, the deepest layer is this one here. And we have four muscles that make that up. We call that the suboccipital triangle, because this here's the occiput, and it's right underneath the occiput. We got two muscles that come right from the lowest internal ridge and go to C1 and C2 respectively, which is the spinous process. These are known as the rectus capitis major and minor. And then we have two more muscles that flank it on the side. One's out here from the occiput to C1 transverse, and one goes from C1 transverse to the spinous of C2. And those are known as obliquus capitis muscles. The reason why I bring those muscles in here is they are crucially involved in eye motion and eye movement. So when you throw a cat up into the air, it will land on its feet. Those muscles are the reason why they do that. Those muscles follow the eye muscles, and then the whole back follows those muscles' actions. In a cat, those muscles are the reasons why the cat lands on its feet and not on the back and throw it in the air. Because it orients itself to the eyes where it is in space. And those muscles react unconsciously, as us too, to the eye motion. And then in the cats more, the whole back responds to the muscle. Oh, you're not a cat! This is something, you know, it's a little more retarded than us. We don't need some of these things, but they are evolutionarily come from there. And this is very important because if somebody has back pain, it could be that these muscles are the culprit. And that's why they're very deep, but they're really, really important. So those if you have headaches and stuff, if somebody will start to eat slow and deep in the ridge up here in the neck, that can be very relaxing and helpful. So those are the rectus capitis and the obliquus capitis. They're very interesting. They're not on the test, but they're very important. And then the middle layer has two muscles. One's known as the semispinalis and one is known as the splenius. Semispinalis is right next to the spine. So that muscle starts down in here and it goes into the midline. So it starts on the transverse processes and it goes into the midline of the head, or also the transverse processes, the spinous processes in the midline. There's one that reaches to the neck and there's one that reaches to the head. And those contracts, when they contract, they extend the head and the neck, they tilt it to the same side. But they, since they're attached from the outside to the midline, they will rotate the head to the opposite side. So they're attached here, midline to the lateral, and then they contract, they will rotate it over to the opposite side. Does that make sense? Because then the next one is further out. The splenius is further out. And it's almost like the splenius crosses. It goes from the midline to more lateral. So the attachment sides here are, as spinous processing stuff, and it goes to the opposite, or to the TP, depending if it's the cervical or the capitis. The capitis is the head, and the cervix is the head. And so when we look at the function of the splenius muscle, again, it extends, it tilts it to the same side, but now this one rotates the nose to the same side from the opposite. The way it's made. You see that? Because it's coming from the midline to lateral out, where the contractor brings it. So that's sort of how I think about these muscles. Okay, so those are the two more neck layers. So now in the neck, we have the trapezius on top, the semispinalis, the splenius in the next layer, and then the deep or these recti capitis and these obliquus, these smaller muscles. Okay? Then we go to the back. And in the back, we got maybe two layers that we want to